Hello and welcome. If you're here with me, let's take a nice, just slow breath together as we go ahead and get started. And I often say, I need that breath as much as you might need that breath this morning. It's funny because I wasn't quite clear on what I was going to talk about. And so I asked Spirit just to kind of lead this for me. And one of the things that is happening for me, something that has changed in my journey, that has been a big, huge, pivotal change actually in my journey, is that I was somebody who always used to run late. If I said I was going to be somewhere at 8:15, you could swear on the Bible that I was going to be there at 8:45. It was always this pressure. I always felt pressure with time. And I would get as time would start moving on and the clocks would start ticking, I would feel the anxiety building and I would fear that being late so much that I would essentially make myself late. And I think this is important for a couple different things. We hear in the spiritual communities, we hear um, that time is an illusion, right? And I don't know that it's so much that time is an illusion; it's that time is made up by man. It is something that we created. If we look at this deeper, esoterically, and we begin to understand the quantum fields and the different parallel realities that are happening, the past, the future, and everything happening sort of at the same time in the parallel world, it's that there is no before, now, after. There only ever is now. There only ever is this moment. And if we can take a breath and we can sort of disconnect from the clock for a minute, disconnect from the minutes of the clock, the time of the day, and we can just be here in this moment. One of the things that we can absolutely recognize is that there only ever is this moment. There only ever is now, right? And now will always be the moment that you will be in. So if we are putting a lot of pressure on ourselves to show up on time, or we feel this anxiety to show up on time, being in that anxiety is putting resistance for you to be in the now moment, which is going to essentially make us late. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. It's so good to see you. So this morning I was thinking about this because I, as someone who is always once late for everything, I have literally shifted that and become the person who shows up so early. It's unbelievable. All right. I was somebody who, if you told me to be there in 5 minutes, it would be 15. And now if you tell me to be there in 5 minutes, I'm there in one. And that was a piece that I had to heal in me. But something that I hear often, I do coaching work and I do divine support work. And something that I hear often with people is that I take a breath there. I lost my train of thought. Hold on. That can happen when spirit's trying to channel in and they're trying to bring me other downloads. So, give me just a moment to go where I was with my thoughts. Being here in the now moment, being very present for what is, not being the person who is so rushed by a clock, always being in a hurry, always having to rush through the system is going to cause us anxiety to be late. We have to recognize that this is the moment that we are in, and this is the perfect moment, and that we're never ever late. And when we can relax that, we can really move into the next layer. And now I know where I was going. Thank you. One of the things that I hear when I'm working with people is that when they have healed a particular thing, like this for me, always being late to somebody, always being early, and there is this moment in time where you may witness the experience of what you had healed. Like for me this morning, I started to feel the pressure to show up here at 8:15 because I said I was going to be here at 8:15. And when I was moving along my morning, everything shifted in my morning. Everything had to change in my morning. This is not my normal practice, right? So I started to feel the anxiety of, oh my gosh, I'm going to be late. This is a default. This is a default programming. And it could be something that's so deep in your subconscious that it was trained in you before you hit that pivotal 7 years old, right? It could have something to do with when you were in your mom's belly and she was always doing this thing. She was always rushing, always trying to get somewhere on time. And you sort of adopted that through that cord with her. So we can heal a particular moment in our life and understand that the default programming can still come up when we're not paying attention, or when things are, or when we're focused on outside of ourselves, focused on other things, that the default program can begin to come up. And I think this is a really important conversation to have, because for me, that default program came up as I was trying to change my schedule, trying to move things around, trying to show up here on time. I started to get really anxious around the moment. And as my anxiety started to grow, the clock seemed like it was clicking faster. Boom, 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 boom. Until the point where I was started to feel a little bit like out of breath. And I had to stop myself. And I had to realize that this default programming, this wound of like, oh my God, I'm going to be late, is coming up for me again. What can I do about it? And for me this morning, it was, instead of rushing through the rest of this morning, that I was going to be very present for where I was. I decided to slow down. I actually stopped everything that I was doing, and I took one nice deep breath, breathing in, feeling the moment, and breathing out. And, it may seem like, well, that seems so easy to do, right? I think we're always looking for the complicated solutions to our problems. We're always looking for the thing that's going to fix it. And sometimes it's literally just stopping yourself in your tracks, being aware, paying attention, being very present for what is, and slowing your roll down. I think so many of us deal with patience and having to become more patient in our journeys. And I was looking back last night, I was budgeting and looking back last night at the past since 2021, so 5 years in my business. And I was going back and I was looking at the things that I had created, the time frames, and the budgeting, that the receivables and those kind of things. I was just taking a glance and a snapshot at where I was 5 years ago versus where I am now. And what's really, really interesting is, and this was a big aha moment for me, because in 2021, 2022, 2023 was really that big, oh my God, I have a wound here about being late, right? This is something that it was 2023, I think that was really the big year for this, learning how to really be in my moment and slow down to speed up kind of thing. And I realized that over these years, I was always in a rush to get to that next stage in my business. Always putting so much pressure on myself to grow and to be at a certain point in my business. And when I was taking the snapshot, the years looked similarly the same. There was no big shift. There was no big change. Not at least not in the receivables and the way that things were moving in my business. It was more of everything was sort of staying the same. And that did a ding, 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 ding in my brain last night because I can remember feeling that. And this 2023 year was a big year for me because a lot of things did change for me in 2023. Or at least I was more aware of what needed to shift and what needed to change in 2023. And what had happened is I noticed that everything was really, really similar. And then 2024 was the only year that was really vastly different. So I was really very present in taking care of these moments and being in the moment, and things started to shift in my business in 2024. And then as life started moving and things started happening in my world, as some of you know, I am taking care of my aging parents. This was all happening in 2025. The Trump administration came in the early parts of 2025, put me in a deep set of grief that I won't even go into today. It'd be another conversation for another day. But I noticed where I defaulted back into that old program of pressure, pushing, and actually putting myself in resistance. And I want what I'm doing here. If I'm showing up live here, if I'm showing up, I'm actually doing, Christine is here with me this morning. Thank you for being here, Christine. Christine and I are doing a little 30-day live challenge with ourselves and to show up every day for 30 days on a live. And I decided that I wanted to show up in multiple different platforms on these lives, that I'm going to go live every single day, but that certain days are going to be reserved for certain platforms. And so here on Thursdays and Sundays will be reserved for Substack. And I'll be going live at 8:15 in the morning on Thursdays and noontime on Sundays here on Substack. So I do hope that you click in and join me. But one of the things that if I'm going to offer anything when I come on live, if I'm going to offer anything when I'm showing up on video, is that I am just completely and totally authentic with you, that I'm vulnerable, and that I show the human parts and that I show the processing and the things that I'm moving through. Excuse me. That I show the things that I'm moving through, and that I walk with you. I like to look at the things that I need to heal as a win. When I recognize that something is coming up for me in a really, really big way and I need to walk through it, I look at that as a win. I don't look at that as something that I need to hide from my community until I process it, until it's all better, until it's fully healed. I like to walk with you as I'm healing it to show you the steps of what I'm doing and what I'm healing. And so for this piece, for me, that pressure, that presence, putting a lot of pressure on myself, trying to rush things through, forcing momentum, I'm done with that shit. I am absolutely, fully, 100% done with forcing momentum. When I took a breath this morning, feeling the pressure to show up here at 8:15, and I realized that I was pushing the clock with my anxiety, and I said, slow down to speed up, be here now. And I sat my ass on the bed and I took my breaths. It felt amazing. Honestly, if you're listening to this and you're listening back to this, I'm going to just invite you to take a breath. Just one slow breath. And recognize that the only span of time that you will ever have is now. Whether that's now in the future, or now in the past. Everything, everything that we are healing now, we are healing in our past, we are healing in our future, and we are healing for our parallels. Everything that we are taking care of and loving and nurturing is happening now, right now. So when we are asking the cards, we're pulling cards, or we're talking to psychics about what's going to happen 3 months from now, what your psychic is actually seeing is the patterns that you're running on now. And if you stay in those same patterns, there are certain events that can play out because it's natural. But you have the power and the availability and the presence of mind to create change right now, to shift your thinking right now, to shift your perception right now, to shift your thoughts right now, to love yourself a little bit more right now, to believe in what is possible right now, to decide that you're not going to pressure yourself anymore right now, to decide to have a little bit more trust and faith in divine right now. It's all happening right now. And what I can tell you is that things can shift in a moment. Life can change in a single moment to the most drastic, to the most joyful, to the most fun, to the most easygoing space right now. And this isn't just like baloney that I'm throwing up your booty. I've witnessed it. I've experienced it. When they talk about quantum leaping and quantum jumping, this is literally what they're talking about, because when we settle into this present moment and we begin shifting our thoughts, our perceptions, our thinking, our feeling, the way that we're seeing things, the way that we're holding ourselves a little bit tighter, the way that we're witnessing the world, when you start shifting it here in this moment, you move yourself into different realities. You move yourself into different stations in your life. And what's happening 3 months from now can drastically be different than what you're fearing could happen 3 months from now. Just because something had a pattern to it and was leading the same way doesn't necessarily mean that it has to continue. But we can only see the pattern when we're present for it. We can only see what is when we're here. And if we're pushing, if we're rushing, if we're anxious, if we're worried, I know worry. I know worry. I also don't want to say, throw your worries out the window. You'll be okay. Right? Because I know worry. It comes from fear. Anxiety comes from fear. It all comes from fear. It all stems from a fear-based emotion, right? I know worry. And if you're worried, if you take a moment, the only reason why you're worried is because you're over here. You're somewhere in the future. You're the thing that hasn't happened yet, that you're got doom and gloom around. It's over here. It's over here. And if we can remind ourselves, I'm worried about something that hasn't happened yet. I'm worried about something that could literally shift right now. I'm worried about something that can build new legs and have new births right now. I'm worried about something that hasn't happened yet, which means I'm putting myself in resistance to shifting and changing it. But I know that this happened in the past, so it must be that in the future. You're creating it. We're manifesting in a state of this right now. And we all do it. We all have these moments. But it's that really pivotal moment when we go, oh my God, I'm witnessing this. I'm witnessing and I'm aware of this feeling. And I'm going to stop and I'm going to drop into my body right this second. That can shift everything. People say that, awareness isn't that just being aware of something doesn't necessarily shift it. And that's true and not true because, I know that if somebody is dealing with alcoholism, the only way that they're really going to get help and shift and change it is first by becoming aware that they're an alcoholic, admitting it, owning it, right? You hear about this in the 7-step programs. And if you've known any loved ones who's ever, healed from alcoholism, the first thing that they have to do is become aware of the disease that they're having, or that they're the behaviors that they're doing along with the disease that they're in order to shift that. So becoming aware, taking a moment, dropping into your body and taking a look, not with like, oh God, here I go again, and beating the shit out of ourselves or beating ourselves up, but more of like, hey, I'm witnessing this, I'm observing this. And that puts me in a state of my higher self. Your higher self isn't an entity out here. It's not outside of you. Your higher self is not some, el- elusive energy that's disconnected and living in the 5D and 7D and 10D worlds. It's operating from those fields, but all of those dimensions are within you, as is your higher self. And when we stop, we take a breath, we observe without judgment, without criticism, without beating ourselves up, but we just observe. We just recognize the thing that is asking to shift. We can then step into the clarity and the channel to receive the guidance from that powerful higher self that's within us on how to make that shift or what that very next step is. When we are looking to make shifts, I want you to stop going after the ultimate goal. And I want you to think about what's the very next thing I have to do in front of me. For me this morning, it was simply taking a breath. That was the very next thing. Then it was coming on here to talk about it, to share my experience. And hopefully, if you resonate, to shift something in you. From here, I will move on to the next step of my day. But I'm more aware, I'm more alive, and I'm more present. I'm not worried about being late. I'm not even worried about being on time. I'm just present for what is. Okay. Hope you've enjoyed this. If you are watching back, thank you, thank you, thank you. If you are here with me, thank you, thank you, thank you. I look forward to connecting with you again on Sunday. Also, I do have something that I'm really excited about that I'm creating here for Substack. Actually, two things, but the one thing I want to talk about today is my new publication that I'm calling Spiritual Baloney and the Divine Cherry. And basically, this is going to be my perceptions and beliefs and ideas around some of the spiritual principles that we're taught that I feel are a bunch of baloney, and the divine cherry, the truth of what I believe is really happening. And of course, this is my perception, my belief system, the things that I've been shown and taught along the way. Some of it you might resonate with. Some of it you might be like really resonate with. And some of it you might be like, that's a bunch of baloney. And that's all okay. That's all okay, right? But I want to come on and share my perspectives and my thoughts and my feelings around certain things and really color my community and grow from there. Okay. But today, was just about connecting with you for a moment. And if you are wanting to work with me deeper, I do have something amazing coming up on Monday. I am hosting a very small, intimate circle with just 6 people. It's a 7 circle. I'm the seventh. I'm in the circle. So I'm hosting only 6 people, and it is going to be a 2-hour event from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern Time on Monday. We are going to come in. I'm going to do some channeling for the collective group of the 7 of the circle. And I'm going to be doing one-on-one. I mean, I would always call them hot seats. I want to change that. I don't know what I want to call it. But basically, I'm going to be calling you up, connecting with spirit, connecting with your loved ones, connecting with guidance, and helping to walk you through that next phase in the journey and helping you to tap deeper into the self and to open up that clarity and pathways for you. And we'll do some healing and clearing and activation in it. So I'm really, really excited. And that is $111. If you are interested, let me know and I will get you all set up and scheduled in. Okay. All right. Have a beautiful, beautiful Thursday. Again, I will see you again on Sunday, noon Eastern Time. Have a great day. And I never know how to close this. Hold on.